In this video, we're going to talk about how to build the best portfolio possible and how to land that job in the industry. So I'm going to start off with a quote from Ty Carter, and he says, "Top talent is always in demand, period." And I like that because it sets the precedent for how you should not be giving excuses for why you can't land the job, whether it's the industry is suffering or there aren't jobs in the area. If you are passionate enough, you will find that job for you. So now you decided you are ready to commit to a portfolio and send it off in hopes of landing a job in the industry. Before you get excited and send it out preemptively, let's take a moment to review and constructively rework what you've prepared and see what can be improved upon. And I've collected my own thoughts on the subject matter, but I've also asked artists in the industry and even art directors on their opinions and thoughts on the matter and how to build the best portfolio. And I found that almost everything was consistent throughout all of the opinions. So hopefully you can take the tips from this video and then apply it to your own portfolio. Does it stack up? Is it meeting the standards set by the industry? Are some of the things you're doing falling under the don't do sections? Now, our goal here is not to criticize your portfolio and tear it down, but rather the opposite. This should help you create the best representation of yourself as the artist in the form of an organized, structured portfolio. So I'm going to go through a physical and a digital portfolio, but also I want to talk about the follow-up, how you should present yourself in person, and self-marketing. They all kind of go together, so I think it's important to talk about each when trying to get a job in the industry. And before I begin, Chris Oatley states it very simply: do great work and be great to work with. So what is a portfolio and what does it say about you? Your portfolio is the ultimate representation and definition of you as an artist, your current skill set, your specialties, your professionalism, and your passion. If you really enjoy dinosaurs, good chances are your portfolio will reflect that. If you are a slacker or are incredibly particular about organization, your portfolio will reflect that. So you are sending a message with your portfolio. That could be a positive one or a negative one, and let's work on it being a positive one. Now, professionalism and punctuality read right away. And trust me on this, spell check. Read everything twice, and if you can, even have someone look at it for grammatical errors. Remember, you are competing against industry veterans, not just your college buddies. So you might be a big fish, but you could be in an incredibly small pond. So look online at examples of portfolios that work and also do a great job of presentation and let that inspire your own. Take your time and develop the absolute best representation of yourself in your portfolio. This is important. Okay, so now you're at the point where you're deciding, what art should I include? In my opinion, more than anything, quality over quantity. You should aim for around 10 minimum, but no more than 25. You want to show your capabilities without selling yourself short. A portfolio of only 5 pieces may make it seem like you work slow or you don't have enough quality pieces to include. A portfolio of 45 pieces makes you seem indecisive or unable to decipher your top quality pieces. If you want to be a character artist, include mostly character art. It is better to have a specialized focus rather than being a jack of all trades, so that when you land a job in the industry based on your portfolio, you are doing work that you are genuinely interested in doing. You should start with a good first impression and leave them wanting more. So include your best 2 works in the beginning and end of your portfolio. Bobby Chiu has a great system from his portfolio tips lesson, and that's to have a system in organizing your pieces in terms of quality. So rather than having a portfolio that's strong in the beginning and then kind of fades out towards the end, mix in strong pieces next to pieces that aren't as strong throughout the entire thing. That way, your work has a relatively consistent level of quality throughout your portfolio. So what do employers see? Personally, I judge portfolios based on what I believe to be the worst piece in the collection. So choose your top works and filter out what you wouldn't want representing you. You should not have to explain a piece that's included in that portfolio. This can make you look unsure or defensive, which is both not impressive and quite the turnoff. If you're unsure if you should include a piece or not, chances are the employer is thinking the exact same thing. So don't put them in that position, just don't include it. And more than anything, employers are looking for your underlying skill set that you have. This means your understanding in shape and form language, color, lighting, anatomy, how well it reads, is it unique, and most of all, your potential. An employer wants to see that you have the capability to grow as an artist in their company. So if you are building a physical portfolio, let's talk about designing the pages. Design the layout of each page with as much care and thought as the work being displayed. Keep the background simple and neutral. There is no need to distract from the work you are showcasing. And if you're thinking of making a theme, I would just suggest not to. The theme of your portfolio should be quality work more than anything else. Do not include watermarks. It's alright to have your signature on the side or a website link, as long as it's not terribly distracting or detracts from the artwork itself. And you want to keep the work you've selected organized and have a flow to it. Don't bounce around between subject matters or categories too often, or at all. You want your art to just breathe. Don't create visual awkwardness with edges being too close together or an image being too small or hard to read on the page. You want to avoid tangents at all costs. And when you're ready to print, let's talk about the printing process and what you should write. Now, when you're printing your pages, do a test batch. I can't emphasize that enough. You don't want to be stuck with pages that turned out too dark, hard to decipher, or pixelated because you waited till the last minute. And while you should do a testing on your image a few times and test different adjustments, a general rule is to make the image CMYK, lighten it slightly, and lower the contrast. And when it comes to creating your cover letter, keep it simple and your resumes to the point. There is no need in fluffing up facts that you want to be understood quickly and without confusion. And you want to include work experience that is relevant and adds value to your resume. So maybe keep out that babysitting gig you had for the summer when you were 14. And you want to present yourself as a team player that understands how to work under stress and is a problem solver. And although that's sometimes hard to represent in writing, let's talk about how you should present yourself in person. So the day of a portfolio review or an interview is here. And when this day comes, dress yourself appropriately and showcase the qualities of yourself that best present a potential coworker or client. Be friendly, honest, and professional. After you get the job, you can be more buddy-buddy, but first impressions are important, and you want to show that when it matters, you can be a reliable, presentable worker representing the company. And do not get defensive about your portfolio or review at any point. One of the worst impressions that you can have is that you can't handle constructive criticism. It shows a lack of willingness to be open to growth and progress. And assuming it goes well, you'll then have to present yourself in the follow-up or in an email format. And emails are so important. A working relationship is a relationship, and successful relationships have great communication. So email quickly without it feeling rushed. Compose your email structurally and be professional. So I would avoid smiley faces or any kind of self-entitlement. Something like a check out my work, okay thanks. You want to get rid of that completely. And once again, spell check. It doesn't take too long to reread an email before sending it. And when sending your portfolio, no single file JPEGs, you should have a solid single PDF containing your entire portfolio. And make sure the PDF opens and it's of high quality. You don't want to send a format that doesn't open or there's an error when trying to open it. So now let's talk about having an online portfolio or a personal website. Marketing plays a very crucial part in being an artist in today's day and age. So if you're making a personal website, here's some tips. You should have simple navigation, have it be easy to update on your end, and have the contact info easily accessible. Make it all about the images, not a flashy interface. You don't want to waste an art director's time. If they clicked your link to see your work on a site, it better be very clear and direct. So a general rule is avoid flash. You don't want any distractions when all they want to see is your art. So if you're using other media websites to host your art, it works just as well, but it's not quite as professional. I've received applications that linked me to their DeviantArt gallery, and honestly, if the work is strong, that's what is truly impressive and important. Make your presence online known. Don't just rely on one site to host your work. And this kind of leads me to the last point in this presentation. Self-marketing, persistence, and passion. Do not be your own worst enemy. You need to put yourself out there and have your online presence be known. Show your determination and drive. This can be done by producing multiple pieces of work each week, whether it's final pieces or sketches, and share them out on as many relevant social platforms as possible. So to help you get started, the basic platforms would be DeviantArt, Facebook, Tumblr, Twitter, Instagram, ArtStation, DrawCrowd, and then from there, whatever else seems appropriate and fitting. You are setting yourself up to be noticed, and the more platforms, the more chances there are of being seen. And you want to use a consistent name. You don't want to confuse the people following you, and I would avoid sticking with the name that you created when you were in grade school. And lastly, you gotta post your work. Share it out. Show some in-progress works along with your completed pieces. Don't only post when you deem something perfect. Remember, done is better than perfect. My final thoughts to leave you with are this. Do not rely on excuses as a scapegoat for why you don't have a job in the industry. Examples of this are the industry is suffering, there aren't jobs in my area, or I'm just not good enough to get a job. And the one that I hear the most is I don't have enough time. And when I hear that, I immediately translate that to I don't manage my time well. Because if doing art and getting a job in the industry is important to you, then you will make the time to get it done. And the list of excuses goes on, and I've heard a lot in my day, but I also don't want to underplay how difficult it is to get a job in this industry. But I find that artists sometimes find solace in thinking that these excuses are the real reason they're not getting a job, when really they're just not getting the work done. So put it in your head now. You are going to get denied, rejected, set aside, voted off the island. You are not always going to get the job you are going for. So put yourself above this. Knowing that this will happen will hopefully subside the fear of putting yourself out there. My favorite example is if you send out 10 applications, if 9 reject you, you only needed 1 to accept you. You only needed 1. So every time you get rejected, send out 2 more application letters. This will help build a more persistent personality. And Ty Carter's quote from the beginning couldn't ring any more true. Top talent is always in demand, period. So no more excuses. You can do this. You just got to believe in yourself and be confident when you're building up that portfolio, and remember to stay persistent. So hopefully this will help you guys build a better portfolio, and thanks for watching.